Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Overlay a Poker Podcast.
That's it?
Yeah, I decided I'm never going to say brought to you by CCG Poker Radio and Paramount Social Club. Actually, Paramount has got some new cool stuff happening. You want to hear about it?
I want to hear it.
I was just, as we all know, the last episode, I was in Houston doing it from Paramount Studios.
Yes.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I can't say that because
Right.
it's actually
Paramount Social Studios.
I was doing it from the hotel room from across the Paramount Poker Room.
There you go.
Paramount Social Club. Anyways, we have a little weirdness with the Paramount Studios, so I'm not supposed to use it in any way, shape, or form.
That's pretty cool that they told you can't.
Oh yeah, acknowledged.
Yeah, at
Yeah, because we
least you're on the map.
we trademarked Paramount Social Club, and they nixed it. They decided to fight us on it, and we won,
Nice.
which is pretty
So
cool.
1-0 against Paramount.
1-0 against Paramount. So I think the way we left is they can never start a casino or anything in the casino industry, and we're not allowed to say it in an entertainment way. So like me saying Paramount Studios, meaning Paramount Social Podcasting Studio, probably not something I'm allowed to
That's
say.
probably crossing that.
I crossed the line.
You did.
Anyways, brought to you by Paramount. But the nice thing is, since I was in Houston, COVID, I was they're now using the RFID table, the TV table, 3 days a week.
That's beautiful.
And they're going to start pumping it up to 4 and 5 days a week. So right now they're doing the final tables of the Thursday night freeze-out tournament, which I want to pop a question to you here in a second.
Okay.
They're also doing the Friday night bounty tournament and the Saturday night deep stack. So Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, all the nightly tournaments at 7 p.m., which range from like $80 to like $60 a night. Which is pretty cool. And it kind of goes over all like the stuff that they offer. The freeze out tournament on Thursday, bounty tournament on Friday, and then the deep stack on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the wide range of everything that they do. It's great. It's fun. And people are starting to dig it. Like they were getting some stack numbers. Normally the stack week is always the busiest week of the month. And the second week right afterwards, since people know they're doing the TV table.
Yeah.
It brings them in. They're hooked. Yeah.
That's good.
Players love it. But I did get into, I don't want to say an argument, but a discussion about the possibility of what is the definition of a freeze-out tournament? This is not what,
good question.
it's not what the episode 43 is going to be about, but it's like our opening question is like a TD question to Brandon. Brandon, define freeze-out tournament. Because we have a discrepancy, and she was quite upset about it.
Oh, I don't really know.
I
I
assumed,
just assume it's that you can't
rebuy.
No rebuys and no reentries.
and when you're out, you're out.
Right.
There's
you're
no like.
freezing out. You're,
Correct.
Yeah, you're in and
But-
and then you're out.
There is a optional break add-on
Okay.
in the freeze-out tournament, and her response to me was that it's not technically a freeze-out tournament if there is an add-on.
That I can get on.
I can see
I
both
can get on
ways.
board with that.
I can see both ways. I can see like, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
In all
Like
honesty,
freeze-out's just like you start with this amount of chips and
And that's
You're
it.
froze out and then you go and you win and you
Right.
or you lose.
right? So it's like a small,
It's a hybrid.
it's a small variation.
Ice out.
Oh, I love that. I might change the name to Ice Out.
Yeah.
Patent
Not
pending.
exactly. You're not
Patent
frozen,
pending.
but it's not like
You're
water.
iced out.
You're just iced out.
Yeah, because again, my thought process was freeze out means when you're out of chips, you're out of the tournament. There's no way to get back in, right?
Yeah.
But I guess if you've made it through break, you still have chips. You didn't lose any. This is like the second part of the freeze out.
Correct.
You can buy a little bit more chips, and basically everybody buys it. It's just a
Juicer.
juicer.
Yeah, a little break.
It's the juice.
stimulus.
It's the juice for freeze out.
Yeah.
The juice out.
I got nothing.
I don't know either. But anyways, that was the tournament direction question brought to you by Brandon today.
Question of the day.
Question of the day. Episode 43, Brando. What?
PLO.
We PLO.
4 cards.
4 cards.
Maybe 5 cards.
Sometimes 6.
Just not 2.
Anything but 2.
Right. Or 3. 'cause
Or
mine
yeah,
is
you got to get 4 plus. 4 plus cards.
4 or more.
They should just change it to like 4 plus card.
I like it.
4 card games.
I was trying to think of something that's like 4 times.
So in the last 2 weeks from March 5th to today, which is, I guess, only a week and some change, whatever, 10 days. And, today's the 15th. So it's exactly 10 days since we last dropped an episode.
Good math there.
Thank you. The new number 1 downloaded episode on the Overlay a Poker podcast is episode 5, I think. My stomach's rumbling. Episode 5?
You started with a question twice.
Yep,
Waiting for an
episode
answer.
5, which is the No Limit Hold'em versus PLO discussion, where we kind of go over, not that obviously there's differences, but like just the, kind of the transition from No Limit Hold'em to Pot Limit Omaha and some of the variants and things that you need to look out for. And it was kind of a brief introduction to the 4-card games. And I thought, since we were looking for ideas for episodes, I was like, hey,
Part 2.
bang out a PLO part 2, part 2, 2.0, 2.0 Omaha. It's your favorite game.
My favorite game.
It's my favorite game too.
Yeah.
100%. Like, there's no way.
I think it should be most people's favorite game.
I think
as soon as they try it.
That's the thing.
Where we ended up with at the end of episode 5 is everybody should at least try it, because once you try it, you never go back.
You never want to go back. PLO is like let me see if I can make a good analogy here.
Okay.
PLO is like marijuana. It's the gateway drug.
Yep.
It gets you into the games, but nobody stays there, right? Like, you end up upgrading to other, I don't know if this is a great idea to talk about, but just in general, like, if you become like,
See, I thought you were going to go like No Limit Hold'em is like marijuana, and then if you start to go up the ladder, you get to PLO.
It's way crazier.
It's, like,
it's much
you're
worse.
never going
Yeah, your fixes are in.
Yeah.
You're never going back.
You're never going back. You're
No.
like, I can smoke all the marijuana I want. It ain't going to do it.
It's not going to, it doesn't do it for me anymore.
doesn't.
That's what happens.
Yep.
Yeah, once you play, there you go.
Next
Once
thing you know, you're playing 6-card PLO high-low, and you're like, man,
this is great.
this is great.
This is the best day of my life.
Or triple board. Like
So let's kind of, I thought we would start with some, obviously everybody knows what Pot Limit Omaha is. You play Pot Limit versus No Limit, which we're not really going to talk about.
We can talk about it for a second.
Okay.
Oh, like go?
Yeah, like go.
Oh. Yeah, it just makes it so there's not any pre-flop all-ins, really.
Right. So
It
more,
limits it.
I mean, obviously, is it fair to say that in Pot Limit games, just in general, because I don't really think anything else has played Pot Limit except PLO, but Omaha, more players are seeing the flop because it's harder to get a lot more money into the pot to start, right?
Correct.
You don't get those hands where it's like raise, 3-bet, 4-bet, all in. That craziness happens in PLO, but the norm typically is somebody opens, you might get a 3-bet, and then one or two, a couple of callers, and then the action closes out, and we see a flop, and it's pretty big.
It prevents the raise, call, all in.
Right.
Like, that can never happen.
I mean, it could.
It could, but I'm saying, like, with the deep stacks, like, it's going to go raise, call, and stuff like.
I always feel like, and again, this is my own interpretation, when you play No Limit Hold'em, the goal is to get as many players out of your pot as possible and to get a small amount of people to play against.
Yes.
Where I kind of feel like Omaha is a little bit more opposite in the fact that it's like, let's build a good-sized pot on my big hands. Even though I know there's going to be 4, 5, 6 players to the flop, the idea is to flop a great hand, and then at that point, the race starts.
Correct.
Like, the pre-flop action is more like the warm-up. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, I'm warming up.
Revving the engines.
I'm revving the engines up, and then it's like flop comes out, green light. Either you're going to go, or you're like, okay, hold on. Yeah. Something, I missed everything here. Because there's so many PLO hands that you start with that you're like, this is great. I love this hand. 6, 7, 8, 9, double suited. Money, dog. Yes. And then, like, the flop is ace, king, deuce. You're like, okay. That hand sucked. Yep. If you're jamming, jammy.
Flush draw, it's like, I got an 8 high flush draw.
Right. Like, it sucks. I don't want that flop. Yeah. It's all about the flop.
It is.
So anyways,
we were going to talk strategy at all? Because, like, this kind of flows into my just a little bit. Like,
we were talking about pot limit and no limit. I think the big difference is no limit. Obviously, you can bet whatever you want, and the goal is to try to get players out of your pot and play against a smaller field. Where in Omaha, that's really not the. You really want to kind of keep players along with you,
yes,
so that you can win a bigger pot later.
Yes,
you just have to be smart enough to let hands go that are not working out for you.
Yes, like some hands play super like your hand 6, 7, 8, 9 double suited. That hand plays super good against 1 or 2 hands. 6 or 7 hands, now you need to be. It's way different. I know, obviously,
you need a perfect flop.
You do need a perfect flop, but when you hit it, you
get paid.
You get paid a bunch. Whereas hands like king, 7 deuce, I'll play that hand against 9 players because I'm either going to flop a king and have top set, or just brick the flop and never put another dollar in. So like, there's some hands that like do play better versus 9 people versus 2 people. Like 6, 7, 8, 9, it's never going to be under 40%. Heads up, never. I can flop a 6 and just be in great shape against aces, just with a pair. We're like, and then vice versa with your aces and your kings that kind of stink. Kind of want to play those against unlimited amount of people because you're either going to flop it or you're out.
Right.
So I don't know. That's like a good little starting. Got to be aware of the amount of people in the pot and the kind of hand you have against a bunch of people or against no people.
Question number 2. Players get confused and worried about their knowledge of knowing how much is in the pot.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Why? Why does it not matter?
Because the dealer always knows.
And you can
just say pot
and ask the dealer
how much is in the pot.
There you go. Oof. I feel like when people first start playing Pot Limit Omaha, they're nervous about what to bet, or they make the all-in mistake, which is like the best rookie mistake of all time. Great. They just jam all. I'm all in. No, jackass, you're not.
Or they think they have the full house.
That's not even. Yeah, I mean,
kind of the newbie. I mean, if you're worried about that, I mean, you just got to play 2 cards.
I think the idea you have to play 2 cards in your hand. Yeah, I mean, we're assuming at part 2 of Omaha that players know this. Yeah, but I feel like people need to be aware. It's like a thing in poker rooms in general. Players are afraid to call the floor. Like, they're not allowed to do it. Like, you absolutely can yell floor, and the floor will come over. Now, full well knowing, if you call floor, you're like, I need a drink menu. There's an 80% chance you're going to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
100% chance it's CCG. You ask me for a drink menu, I'm going to punch you in the face. So anybody out there wants to get punched in the face, call the floor, and then ask me for a drink menu.
Or a napkin.
No, a napkin, I don't mind. Floor is not something you call because you want something. Yes. You call brush.
Correct.
That's the terminology you yell when you want to get a drink or a waitress. But don't call the manager over because you need a refill on your Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Like, you call the manager over because you ordered a 2-for-1 coupon and it didn't work at TGI Fridays and you pissed.
Right, you want a refund.
Or your chili cheese fries came out with no chili or no fries. I actually got chili cheese fries one time with no fries.
No.
Yeah, swear to God.
How?
That's what I said. Who did
restaurant?
I think it was at TGI Fridays. I was in my 20s. There was a snowstorm. It was very weird. It was a weird day. We were drinking margaritas in like a blizzard.
Nice.
And I don't know. And neither one of us knew who was driving home. So it was like the race to get drunk first.
Yes.
It's kind of like PLO.
7 of them.
It's kind of like PLO. Like, who's going to be the guy stuck here going to turn into the wild man? That's what we needed to figure out. It happens. I'm having trouble with my new.
Yeah, I see you're just you're fumbling with it.
I don't like it.
By the way, first time ever live.
Yeah. This is Brandon's first ever live.
43 episodes.
We normally
42 episodes.
Yeah, we normally do it over the phone.
Episode 43.
You're probably going to sound terrible, and I'm going to be super.
No, I can't sound any worse on the phone.
I guess not.
I mean, I sound pretty bad.
Brandon's at least aware of the fact of how close to hold the phone to his face when it's a microphone.
Yeah, I really don't know.
He's looking at it like right. He's looking at it like it's a or one of those things.
Yep, one of those things just dangling.
What's the word that? Good Lord, I can't think of it.
I'll give you a second.
Anyways, it doesn't matter.
What are you thinking of?
Phallic. It's a very phallic symbol. Yeah. Brand's looking at it like it's a big phallic about to go near his face, and he's all like, I'm not into this.
I just back up and talk louder.
Right. Well,
I mean,
that works in all of those situations. Back to Omaha. So
where are we going to go from here?
I think we go into you got any cool other strategy tips?
No. I mean,
be aware. I think there's just a lot more going on with
There's
Omaha.
So much. Yeah, people get so intimidated about like, oh, there's just so much going on. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I have? I think like the easiest way to like clean up a lot of mistakes if you're just starting out to play Omaha is just play super tight for your first 20 hours or
super tight.
See what happens. Just
without
watch.
Falling in love with hands. It's never like just because you have aces, like it's not the same. It doesn't carry the same weight. Like even if you've got aces double suited, like it still matters what comes out on the board. You just have dry aces. If the flop is 9, 7, 5, like you don't have anything, and none of your suits hit. You just have a pair. Like let it go.
Yeah,
I'm not saying punt and just fold, but when you
need to be aware that like
why are you calling it
60-70% of the flops with aces are bad?
Correct.
For you. 10, 9, 8, 9, 8, 7. Anything that's connected is pretty bad.
Even with aces, like middle pairs, small to middle pairs in Hold'em, you're really kind of just set mining.
Yeah.
I'm never happy
you're
about
set mining,
aces.
You're nut flushing.
That's all.
And that's
what I want to do is flop an ace with a nut flush draw, and then it's like, boom, that's my phallic symbol hitting the table.
Yes.
Wow, I've gone crazy today.
Yep. And we haven't even used your best analogy yet. We skipped
I know.
I
decided not to use that one. Was just too graphic.
I hear you.
Yeah. I went with the marijuana cocaine analogy.
Yes.
Marijuana being no limit, the cocaine being PLO.
Yes.
PLO is like no limit hold'em on crack.
Yeah.
Although I'm thinking like from the Office episode, he's like, "What have you ever tried crack?" I was like, "True, I haven't.
True.
I don't know what that's like." But that's what the kids are saying.
Right. That's what I've heard.
That's what I've heard. All right. So once you're into the PLO world, and now you're in.
Yes.
They got the hooks in you. You can't get out. You know you're in for good. You're a lifer now. What other PLO? Now you start playing with the PLO junkies.
Yes.
Right? And it's not just PLO anymore.
No.
There's like other stuff you play.
Yep.
What are the other games? So once you're in a PLO game and you get comfortable in the PLO-ness, and then you start like moving into stakes and things start getting funky, what do you start playing? What's like the next funky
I
Omaha
actually
game
think
where you get multiple cards?
probably high-low.
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 Because
high-low.
high-low's another factor in, I mean, obviously.
Right, it's another
a split
layer
pot
in
game.
the onion of PLO.
PLO 8 stands for Pot Limit Omaha 8 or better, which now means you're playing the pot limit version of the '08 game high-low, right?
Correct.
It's crazy town.
It's nuts.
That gets even wilder.
So now you have this whole aspect of not only do I not need to get coolered and make high hands, but now there's an entire new realm of the low, a possibility, and they are both equally worth half the pot, which is important.
And Brandon, question number 3, since you're the PLO expert, can you let us know when a player says, "I got quartered"?
Yes.
Can you explain to the players and not me what that means correctly to use that terminology? Because I always thought it was when I used to play quarters with the kids at the max, and you try to throw a quarter closer to the wall. It's what they did in the Cincinnati Kid, and I'd always make my line, "You're not ready yet, kid," and then nobody knew what the hell I was talking about, and then I felt really old. And then
you really are touching that thing a lot.
And then I realized, I know. And then I realized Naun is basically old enough. I'm old enough to be his dad. His dad's 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyways, go ahead.
It was really weird because I was, he's like, "Oh, it's my mom's birthday." I was like, "What? She turning 37?" He's like, "No, I think 39 actually." I was like, "Wait, this is just a joke."
I'm older than your mom. It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm at that point in my life now where I'm older than people's moms.
That are working for you. Not like, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Kid drives a truck. Like, I'm responsible for him. It's weird.
Yep.
It's very odd. It used to be a fun buddy thing, and now it's
gotten weird.
Right. It's a parental type stuff. Anyways, quartered. Please explain what quartered means in a split pot game.
Quartered means that you lose half the pot and then you chop half the pot.
Right.
So you lose the high because the guy has a straight and you got 2 pair, and then you both have the same low of ace deuce or the nut low, whatever low you guys have, it's the same low.
Right.
So and that's kind of the issue with split pot games is even if you have the nut low, if you're only playing for the low, you can get quartered because
he has the same low.
He has the high with the same low as you.
Right. Better high, same low.
Yes.
You're getting quartered.
Quarter is okay when you're playing a multi-way pot.
3-way.
3 ways, 4 ways, I'll take a quarter of the pot. Mm-hmm. Heads up, not so good.
Well, I mean, you're not playing for a quarter of the pot, but I get what you mean. It's not as detrimental. You're playing a heads up, and
you both stick $1,000 in, and now you're getting a quarter of the pot. You're getting $250. He's getting $750.
Right.
If 4 guys stick in $1,000, well, you get your $1,000 back.
Basically, you're breaking even.
Right.
Well, not basically, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
I did that math nice and easy.
Minus the $5 rake.
Yes, and $2 tip.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do you tip on a quartered pot?
$1.
I mean, I tip on
I don't ever get quartered because I'm not that dumb. But
nice.
Yes.
I've been quartered.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get quartered all the time. I got the nut low. I'm just pot. Oh, you got the same nut low as me? Cool.
Quartered. That's good. All right. So you go from no limit hold'em
To PLO.
the progression of the poker player. No limit to PLO. To PLO 8. Now you're playing some high-low split games, doing a round and round of each, and then what happens? Now you've got the third variant of PLO.
Now you graduate to another card.
Right.
Which I think that the 5-card and the 5-card high-low, which is also Big O, I think those are kind of equally on the sickness scale.
Right. 5-card PLO is just
PLO with an extra card.
And it's still high.
Yes.
You still use three cards on the board, 2 cards in your hand.
Yes.
There's no variation in that.
Nope.
It's just you get a 5th card.
So
how weird does that make it? Because I've never played
weird
live.
Because you
5-card.
you need to get like now all of a sudden it's super nut pedally because now all of a sudden queen high flushes are like you're probably folding. King high flushes you're like
Yeah, and even normal PLO when I have the king high flush, like I'm not
You're just
pounding
calling.
the straight.
Yeah, you check call. Oh, you got it. Okay.
It's why it kind of sucks because you're never really getting paid on it. Like you're not punishing when it's good, and
Yep, you're bluff catching and you're value owning. Like you're getting the guys that are just going to value bet any flush and you're going to beat them.
Yep.
And then you're getting the guys that are going to bluff it off. But it's not like a guy bets 400 on the river and you look down at the king high flush second nuts and you're like, ha 1200.
Right.
No, never.
A few times
Literally
you're going to
never.
call the 4.
You're going to call the 400
to bluff catch. But even then, you're not happy about the call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so 5-card PLO.
The number one important thing about 5-card PLO is
to make sure you have 5 cards.
Blockers.
Ooh.
They become so much more important now because everybody is playing to the absolute nuts that like you can use your blockers with
You've got
so
the
much
ace
success.
of hearts, even though you're not using it.
If you have any aces,
right,
and you have the flush, like if you have an ace of hearts and there's 3 hearts out there, like you can rep the flush and now get the king high flush to fold pretty easily.
Right.
And if you have 2 jacks in your hand and it's ace, king, 10, you can just pound those jacks because, all the sets are going to fold eventually and they probably don't have a straight. So it's the blockers kind of turns the 5-card craziness even more crazy because now it's like, well, if everybody's using their blockers all the time, now my king high flush is now valuable again. It's like a double, it's gone another step on the ladder where, well, if everybody's
it gets weird.
It gets weird because, I need to be careful because they always have the nuts, but they either always have the nuts or the blocker. Well, now if they're going to be mixing in those blockers, your king highs and queen highs flushes are now good again where they weren't good.
Which is great.
So now you're at complete sicko mode, just blasting away with ace high because you're
basically you can talk yourself into anything.
You can talk yourself into anything, and that's true. And I mean, 5-card is really even sick enough to where like if it's going crazy and there's straight flushes out there, like you're flatting with the nut flush on the river because you just can't ever be too careful. Like you can use the straight flush blockers as blockers in 5-card. When it's 5, 6, 7 of diamonds and you have the 8 of diamonds, well, now that's a blocker. Whereas normally you'd think, oh, well, the ace of diamonds is the blocker. Well, no, the 8 of diamonds is also a blocker. So it's wild. And then you got high-low, which is Big O, which I think is the more popular of the two. If you're ever going to go to a casino, you're going to see 5-card high-low spread over just 5-card Omaha. 5-card Omaha is kind of an internet game, I think. I've never played it live. I've never seen it live. But I have played Big O live, which is very fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never played. I've only played.
They spread it at the shoe when circuit's running.
Really?
Yeah.
And it gets wild.
It's wild.
So 5-card Omaha, it's just high. You're getting 5 cards.
Yep. That's an internet game. That's not going to be spread at any casino
in
the country.
Big O is an actual game that they play in casinos. It's a more not reputable game, but definitely a more right.
You're going to get like old timers, and you're going to get a lot of people that like 4-card high low to play the 5-card Big O.
Right,
because they can dominate the people.
And again, it's just Pot Limit Omaha, 5 cards, and the low thrown in there.
Yes.
Now, obviously, these hands when you start getting 4 or 5 cards, you can't play 8, 9 handed. I mean, they play smaller too.
Yeah,
so it's also something, right, where you see when you get an Omaha game that goes from really Omaha. I don't like playing 9 handed. It's possible. You're using the whole damn deck. I mean, it's like the maximum you can play with.
I mean, you can play 10 handed, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they do it at HPT.
We'll do it. That's ridiculous. Are they ever coming back?
I don't know.
I don't think they are.
I hope so.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess I mean, more tours is better, but like I just feel like
I don't know. They're the one I
feel like they've
always
been
preferred.
radio silence though. Like they haven't said anything.
Yeah.
Jeremy's still there, right?
I don't know. Is he?
I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody works there right now. It's been a year since.
I don't really know anything. Yeah. You think they'd come out with something?
They've been on complete radio silence. Like I don't think they've made anything. Anyways, we're getting I'm hijacking my own podcast here, but yeah, I don't think they've made any kind of announcements about what's going to happen or what's going on. I'm actually looking at the website right now.
I mean, WPT's back, MSPT's back, the circuit.
You see,
back.
You've heard it here first, folks. HPTpoker.com page not found.
Is that their website?
It was their website. Whoa.
Nice. All right, now we can dig in. You've officially hijacked your own podcast.
Yeah, HPT Poker is gone. HPTpoker.com. Why is their website down? What?
Maybe they're updating it for all new tours.
I guess. Here's HPT updates on Twitter. Let's see what that happens. HPTupdates.com. Is that a thing?
Probably not.
Not secure, but I don't think that's them. That's just somebody doing the updates for them. Anyways.
All right, I'm diving into this.
All right, you do that.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit more about PLO and the variants. I think that PLO is super fun. I love all of it. I think when you start playing PLO, it's 7, 8-handed. 8-handed is kind of like a perfect regular PLO game. It's perfectly fine. I prefer to play PLO short-handed. The problem is when you start doing short-handed PLO, and by pre-pandemic standards, that's like 6 or 7-handed, 5-handed in PLO. It's a great game. PLO 5-handed is awesome to play in. 5-handed, no limit, really not that much fun. You can get away with playing 3 or 4-handed PLO, right?
Oh yeah,
and it's a super juicy fun game.
Yes, it's very good.
Again, you don't really get nits in Omaha. Everybody's willing to gamble a little bit more. The nit definition in Omaha is considered kind of a crazy player, an aggressive player at Hold'em. Yeah?
Yeah.
Like the number of hands that you're playing.
Yep.
You're just kind of playing everything.
Correct. And even
see
the
a lot
nits
of
are going to
flops.
play 60, 70% of hands when you're 4-handed.
Correct. Whereas what do you think the net plays 4-handed if he would ever consider playing 4-handed, which he probably wouldn't. But let's say he was playing 4-handed.
The problem is, nits don't play 4-handed Hold'em
Right.
because they can't play enough. Yeah, because they just fold.
Because they're just folding
can't do it.
Right. They can't get themselves into there.
But they'd probably play like 25%.
But my point being about the story before I hijacked it from the HPT fallout.
I got nothing on HPT.
I told you there.
And I got nothing on their Twitter. And I got nothing the 2021 HPT Caribbean thing.
Not on there anymore?
That site is down too. Not available.
Uh-oh. Anyways, anybody knows anything about HPT? Let me know. Wow. John Simon. Is HPT Poker gone for good now that their website is 404, page not found, 4 days ago? I heard your Danny boy is buying it. Ooh. Wrong Danny. Coming on HPT Final Table with, that's back in, Jesus, they haven't been noticed since September of 19 is the last time somebody mentioned HPT Poker on Twitter.
Sweet.
Yeah.
They gone.
They might be gone.
See ya. I always liked them.
I did too. One of my two.
And I like the Ameristar.
Yeah, the Ameristar's a great spot.
It is. It's a great spot for a tour. I wouldn't like go there and play cash.
No.
But like to gather, those rooms up there are nice. And
yeah.
But yeah, when they had that poker room there for a couple of years, not
great.
Well.
I think when you start going into Omaha, you need to be prepared to play some of these other games because of the fact that when you do start getting later into the game and you're starting out 4 or 5-handed, 6-handed, that's when these variants are going to come out because people want to get more cards, more reasons to open up their ranges to play more hands, more hands, more hands. Omaha is about more hands, more hands, more hands.
And I also think you need to like another stepping stone into all these things is you got to kind of pick a style and go with it. You pick the player you're going to be. Like you're either going to be the tight guy that's nut pedaling and using the nut blockers, or you're going to be the guy that's got a whole wide things in the range and you're going to get paid off with jack high flushes because they think you're bluffing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of pick. You're either the maniac, you're either the tight guy, or you're somewhere in between. What you don't want to do is like flip flop back and forth and kind of assign yourself figure out what you want to do and what you're good at, and then like build your game around what you choose to be. It's like picking your starting character.
Your image, I think, is much more important in Omaha
100 times more
because there are, even though, and it's crazy to think about, and hoping that this comes out the way I want it to. COVID. Every time I cough now, I just say COVID.
I see.
When you're playing in Hold'em, guy goes all in, it's like $80 more relative stacks. Like, I'm trying to think of like a 1-3 game here where like it's, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't know what you mean, but keep going.
There's way less, like you're willing to call off like $80, $100, a percentage of your chip stack. Maybe I shouldn't use a dollar amount. You're willing to call a percentage of your chip stack that's pretty high to see what the other player has. Whereas in Omaha, if you've got a set and the flush comes on the river, or you've got the flush on the turn and the board pairs in the river, even though it's a small amount, like there's times that you will fold in Omaha, giving the people credit for having the hands that they're representing, right?
Right.
Where I feel like in Hold'em, that's less likely to happen. Does that make sense? Am I carrying any water here, or is that all bullshit?
I mean, no, it makes sense.
Can you explain it better than I did?
That's what I was hoping you would say. Yeah, it's more like, you're going to give...
Like, for an example, if I start the hand with 400 and there's $300 in the pot and the board pairs in the river and the guy GM's all in, I only got $100 left in Hold'em, I might just say, you got it, and I call it off. Even though, like, whatever.
Because the likelihood of him having it isn't that great.
Right. Whereas in Omaha, if you have 25% of your starting stack left, because the numbers are going to be different, right? Because you're probably playing with a heftier stack. And you get to the end, and you're fully representing. I have the nuts in the hand right now at the turn. Let's get it all in. See, you know what I mean? Like,
right, when you have the nuts straight on the turn and you pot him, and he calls, and then the flush hits on the river and he jams into you. You just like kind of got to give up. Not really, but yeah.
You're more likely to give up, even though it's like, man, ratio for what I have to put in to what I'm like. I feel like that big stone cold bluff could happen. In Omaha is more likely to actually get through than like in in Hold'em.
Yeah, I agree.
Because one, I think just naturally, if you are a 1-2 or a 1-3 player in No Limit, when you play 1-2 or 1-3 COVID. PLO, the games just play bigger. Whatever the doesn't matter if the blinds are 1-2-5, like the games play bigger.
It's big.
Right? Because like when somebody tells you that they're playing 5-5 PLO, like that's not the same as playing 5-5 No Limit.
Not even close. Because a 5-5 No Limit, you're opening to 20. 5-5 PLO, it's like, obviously, it starts at 25.
Right.
It's like, only because it's capped there.
It's a bigger game.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, it's just, you have to be aware of that.
Your average pot is going to be much higher in 5-5 PLO compared to 5-5.
1-2 PLO is basically like the equivalency of like 2-5. And if it's a juicy ass game,
right? Small 2-5.
It could be right. Big
2-5. I mean,
right?
Closer to 5-10.
Closer to 5-10.
Yeah.
And it's a 1-2 blinds.
Yeah, the blinds don't really mean too much.
No, so you do have to be aware of that because if you want to stay away from the 5-5.
So I think that's the problem with PLO picking up steam in the mainstream. Because there's no internet to play on, and if you're going to go to the casino, you got to play 1-2-5,
which is a big ass game. That's a huge jump.
So you really don't get.
There are no tournaments. There's really no tournaments that you're going to play in.
Right, it's a $200 HPT, which no longer exists apparently. So
my highest finish in that tournament is what?
Third,
tied for first. I just didn't take the chop.
Right,
I jackassed it out.
Then he didn't do it.
I declined and got third.
Yep.
Suits me right. When everybody wants to chop in the tournament and the one jackass who says, no, I can beat you guys. I don't like that chop. I want the extra $50 out of a $4,000 split.
Yep.
I bitched about the 1%. Yep, I did. Yep. Makes sense.
I know.
What a dummy.
I know. So I think that is like one of the barriers of entry for like the...
You don't have the opportunity to play online where it's 25 cents, 50 cents. Learning PLO, like it's a great way to learn PLO. That's where I learned to play PLO.
That's where everybody learned to play PLO. I
played full tilt and I played
me too.
5 cents, 10 cents.
$33 heads ups and 25
and then I ran my $50 into 500, and then I would play $1, $2, and I ran my 500 up to 5K, and then I'd play 2-5, and then I'd burn that 5.
And then redeposit 100 and try again.
Right, and then I'd lose, and then the process starts over.
Yeah.
It was never about how high I could get it. It was just how long I could hold on to it for.
Yeah, I've seen Jordan put 100 into 40K.
My bankroll is like trying to hold sand.
Right,
at some point, it's going to all be gone.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's such a great analogy.
Really
I'm just trying to hold the sand for as long as possible.
But it slips through all those fingers.
It's so hard to hold on to. It's like holding water in your hands.
Yeah, so I don't really know. I don't have any advice for like people to like learn the game besides.
I think a great way to learn the game is how people are doing it in Texas. Okay. In Texas, the standard they play ROEs, which took me a while to figure out what the hell ROE stood for. And it makes sense when you say
Omaha 8 or better.
That's exactly what I said. And I was like, oh my God, they actually play ROE here? That is freaking crazy. Let's do this. And then I only got 2 cards. And I was like, what the hell is this? And he's like, that's a no limit, sir. Like, and then why do you call it ROE? And the idea is ROE in Texas stands for round of each. So a lot of the games in Texas are now switching to 1 round of a no limit. And then the next round is Pot Limit Omaha. So you get a lot of the players to kind of play at the same table and play together.
Which is good because ROE is great for Hold'em players.
Yeah.
Terrible for PLO players. I wouldn't say terrible, but I'm saying like they would prefer to just play PLO.
Correct.
Which is honestly a great...
But they're willing to give up half of the rounds to the no limit guys to have some kind of PLO game going.
Correct. And I think it's the same way for the no limit guys. They're like, well, I'm playing half no limit here and I can just kind of tiptoe around and get my feet wet. It's kind of a great way to... you said
it's a really great way
to learn.
Correct. And it's
going to be mostly, I wouldn't say mostly, but it's going to be a lot of Hold'em guys that are just trying out.
So
PLO.
if you're a PLO player playing in that game, like you have an advantage half of the time because they're not quite. You definitely get early on with the one guy's like, yeah, I don't really want to do it. And then he pop, gets to the river and there's 4 spades on the board and he's got the ace of spades and he's like, ha ha,
not
spades, bitches. And then you're like, sir, you have it. You have right. No, that doesn't count. But there's 4 kings on board. I have 4 kings and an ace. No, you don't. You have 3 kings, an ace, and a 4. That's what you have. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's tough.
You lose players that way, but it's their own damn fault, and they're only going to learn that way if they do it. But the other nice thing that they do, pretty standard now, is that almost every, and 99%, I'm not joking, 99% of the games now are 1-2 or 2-5 no limit hold'em in Houston, and they play this reverse button game. So wherever the button starts, it starts going backwards. So you just keep getting, and whenever they cross paths, the button and the reverse button, you play a hand of Omaha. So it's like 1-2 no limit hold'em with one hand of PLO, with a little sprinkle of PLO. And it's like, and again, it's even better because like if you're playing an 8-handed game, 7 out of the 8 want to play round of each, and one guy's like, nah, I'm not going to play if you do that. And then you just try to convince him, well, just one hand every round. Just skip that hand if you don't want to play it. Just skip it. It's like bomb pot, but it's PLO.
Yeah.
And then you start getting in, right? Then you start getting into bomb pots of PLO, and then these people go nuts. And then they call it something different. They don't call it flips down there. They call it like races or
rundowns,
races,
runoffs. I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah, they don't call it a flip. Because I was like, anybody want to flip for 100?
Like, what's that?
Yeah, and the one kid like did a backflip, and I was like, wait, no, that's not what I meant.
Here's 20, but
here's 20, but give me a chance to win my money back. Anything else on PLO Part 2? I mean, I know we kind of just talked about
we kind of just jumped around. I mean, yeah, we should probably have a full episode on like some strat, but like
I think maybe in the near future, we're definitely going to do some more PLO
because there's just so much. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm just saying like it's a lot to grasp and take in when you start. Like, obviously, everybody knows how to play PLO, but like knowing the ins and outs of playing thousands of hands of PLO, you kind of see and understand a lot of the game flows and when people could be bluffing. And, you know, for just a random example, when the tight guy's potting the turn and the straight gets there, he's probably got the straight, but he's the tight guy. So no matter what you have, you can rep. If you got a set, you can say, all right, well, I have a set, but there's 2 flush draws on the board. If it comes to board pair, I'm going to win with a full house. If it comes either of the flushes, I'm going to rep those and know the right people to use that against.
Right.
Because now you got 3/4 of the deck you're going to beat the guy on.
Right.
You're either going to make your hand or you're going to bluff, and it comes a complete brick. You just muck because he's got the nuts.
Right.
And you can know which guy
on the same token
with.
you also have to know in that scenario that you're really not going to get paid any more than what's in the middle of the pot. So you have to take that into an account as well.
Correct. When the board pairs, the nit isn't going to
fold.
Pay off.
Right.
So the same token, when the club gets there, when the diamond gets there, you can bluff because he isn't going to pay off. So you got to kind of realize, your implied odds are a lot smaller when you know that the
guy's going to insta-fold.
And has the nuts on the turn and it isn't going to pay off any rivers.
Nope.
But it gets a lot more difficult when the guy's sticky and you don't know if he's got the nuts straight, if he's on either one of those draws. This is why position just matters so much, because you playing mediocre hands out of position in PLO is exactly how you're going to lose all your money. And I feel like every time Ken loses all his money, it's because he plays mediocre hands out of position and then just check calls and just hopes he's good with jack high flushes or third nut straights.
Being Ken?
Yeah, you. Yeah. Or sets when there's straights and flushes. You know what I mean? Like, you playing these hands out of position, you just check and you give the ultimate, they can just own you in position.
It's true. Position is
so much more. Never play any hands.
In Omaha, I feel like everything is amplified, meaning you have to have a better feel for the table to know which players are kind of playing in certain styles.
Position amplified. Styles amplified.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, actually, that's another one of our really good episodes when we do like the poker terminology and we talk about like the crusty veteran and stuff. And
ooh, I'm so good at it.
Which that one was about.
I mean, I guess I'm very good at profiling, which I guess isn't that good, but I'm very good at poker profiling. I'm pretty good at like assigning people and then adjusting. But
I think that was episode 10.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Poker Culture 101, where we talked on the ideas of like stereotypes being specific types of players.
Yeah.
That stereotype that you put on a player in Omaha is significantly more important when you're playing because, again, everything is amplified.
Yep.
I think that's the underlying story of PLO Part 2.
Yep.
Everything is amplified. People's nerves are much higher. The games are, but again, that's what makes it so much more fun.
Right, and
it's
to go
so
full
much
circle,
it's
cocaine is a lot more amplified.
It's
than
so much more
marijuana.
addictive when you start playing. Nobody ever goes, I've been playing PLO for 5 years and went back to Hold'em. Like, it doesn't happen.
Right. Unless
it's
they
like,
went completely broke. But
even still, they're still doing whatever they're doing to get back to Omaha.
Yeah.
Nobody leaves Omaha. Omaha is a mistress that is with you forever.
I'll never go back.
No. I never want to go back.
No.
I want PLO to stay forever.
Like, when I look at the WSOP schedule in 2021, I'm just going to look at what
PLO.
the PLO events
right.
are.
I want to look at PLO.
I don't
and
even
then,
care.
Nope.
I mean, obviously the main event's a main event, but like, you got the blah, 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 blah. Nope, cool. When's the
If
PLO?
they had like 3 great tournaments at the end, and I would miss the main event to play those 3 PLO events, way better. Because I'm a tried and true great PLO tournament player.
Yeah, you are.
I'm very successful.
I mean,
I played in 4 tournaments.
Yeah, you've done pretty well.
I'm awesome. So
Can't even
PLO
respond to that.
PLO Part 2. Everything is amplified, including Ken's tournament play.
It is. His tournament play is much better than his cash game play.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
much better than his Hold'em play. Which
Remember when Hurley was like, I've never seen you fold that many times. I was like, I know, because it's a tournament.
Yep.
It's a freeze out. Once you're out, you're out. Whereas in the cash game, you always have that, like, I'll just rip it again. And how often have you gotten into a game and it's a good game and you just keep taking bad beats?
you're just
and you just
so
keep
deep.
ripping.
Yeah.
You just keep going. And the barrels just keep flying.
Yep.
And the pockets just keep getting lighter and lighter.
And sometimes you just go home
and your backpack gets more to the point where it's now I can just leave my backpack and nobody
right,
cares.
Because I don't really care. Yeah, people are like, "Ooh, Brandon's backpack! Yikes, this is nice."
Yeah,
and now at the end of it,
it's
they're
empty.
like, "Oh, yeah,
it's
just
empty.
keep
I PLO'd it.
Right,
It's
just
PLO
throw it in
gone.
the garbage.
All right, well, that's going to do it for episode 43 of the Overlay, a poker podcast. Nope, 42. Nope, 43. 43 is definitely the episode that we are on currently. I want to say a quick thank you to everyone who follows us on Twitter.
What's our Twitter handle these days?
At the Overlay Pod.
No underscore.
Nope, I just changed it. At the Overlay Pod.
The Overlay Pod.
Overlay Pod.
We got some gear at the event.
Yeah. If you guys want some gear, I'll bring some down to Houston as well to kind of hand out some promotional T-shirts.
Nice.
So those look cool as hell. What else? Over 7,000 downloads.
The 1 year anniversary is coming up.
Yeah, end of the month. April 1st will be our 1 year anniversary. The first episode came out on 3/31/2020, which was primo pandemic. Everything we thought was going to be over shortly. That was like the one goal that Brandon and I successfully did during COVID was like, we're going to start a podcast.
Brick, lose weight, brick. Gain muscle, brick.
Kobe.
Make money, brick. Yeah, I mean, basically, this
Diversify my portfolio,
brick. Yeah, buy Bitcoin when it's 3,700 because this is going to be a great earning opportunity. Brick.
It'll never go above 3,000. 40K. What's it at now?
62,000. Last time I checked.
Oh, great.
I actually have some exposure now, guys, so I'm in there.
Yeah.
And when I say exposure, I mean...
It's funny when you see all these poker players that are like, man, I wish I had bought Bitcoin. In 5 years, you're going to be like, I wish I had bought Bitcoin at 40K. Yep. Which actually right now at 60K, it sounds good.
56,000.
Banana hammocks. That's crazy.
Topping out at 62 last week.
I'd like to also ask everybody who listens to the overlay, and there are plenty of you who have come up to us at the events, either in Texas or in Chicago, to say that you love the podcast and that you enjoy listening to it. If you do, it takes literally 5 or 10 seconds. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, just hit that 5-star review. That's all it takes. It really helps us search better. It gets us into the realms of the big boys of poker apps, pods. And definitely something that we would like to do in the future, just because it's more exposure, which means ultimately the PLO games at both locations will get bigger, better, and more fun. So,
that was a nice, cute ending.
That was a good ending. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review at The Overlay Pod. Hit us up on Twitter. Brandon, let us out. What is your best PLO advice? Go. Just a quick one. Quick.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Full aces.
Make the table think that you're a
net.
You're in it, but make the table think you're loose when you're actually in it. That's how you win.
That's how you win.
That's it. Put a mask on.
Definitely wear a mask.
Yep.
We'll see you, everybody. Thanks.